The Massey Ferguson MF35 that I was telling you about in the introductory video. So what we've done so far is we've removed the seat, we've drained all of the hydraulic fluid out of the transmission and the rear end. Let's see if we can back this thing up a little bit. Okay, the problems with it are twofold. The clutch is stuck, having sat for 2 years. And there's an access plate on the bottom of the tractor, and I've already tried to pry the clutch off the flywheel with no success. So I really don't want to take the time to split the tractor if I can avoid it. Then the other problem, so my plan of attack was to hook up my brush hog, mow in low range with about medium throttle, with the clutch pedal pushed in. I've got some fairly open fields out here, and I can kill the tractor fairly quickly if I have to. Oh, let me turn this off. So the master plan was to hook up the brush hog, and hopefully the torque of the brush hog would pull the clutch plate free, because I was going to wedge the clutch pedal down so that, you know, there was nothing holding it against the flywheel, and hopefully break it loose that way. Unfortunately, then the 3-point didn't work. So I've already had the remote hydraulics off, which are right there, and I haven't found a video of this tractor online that shows the remote hydraulics, is really why I'm videoing this. So you pull that remote hydraulic off of there, and there's a tube coming up underneath of it. And if you get fluid pumping out the tube, then your hydraulic pump is fine. If you get no fluid out of the tube, then you've got something wrong down inside with the hydraulics. And I got no fluid, and then, so in preparation for doing the job, I drained the hydraulic fluid out of the transmission and the gear and the rear end, and I had at least 3 gallons of pure water come out the bottom. Now, I haven't figured out where the water came from. Everything appears to be sealed. I bought this tractor about 4 years ago, and I thought I'd checked the fluid when I bought it, but I'm not positive. So I'm sure what's happened is the water was in the hydraulic pump this winter and it froze. I probably got a broken, non-rebuildable hydraulic pump buried in there. So what I'm going to do, because none of my camera holders will hold it at the right angle for you to see, I'm going to try to impose upon my wife to get her to stand here and take a video while I tear it down, and we'll see what's wrong with it. But I'm virtually certain that that's what we're going to find when we get down in there. So let me go see if I can talk her into coming out here and holding the camera, and we'll get it torn down. Alright guys, I'm back. My wife Mary's sitting there holding the camera, and so I've already pulled the cotter keys on your 3-point lift arms. I'm using a ball peen so I don't round them off or flare them out so you can't get them out. Okay, so we're going to pull the remote hydraulics, and this is pretty simple, nothing fancy. So those 2 bolts, whole thing comes off. You can see the tube that I told you about earlier. There's nothing coming out of that tube at all. You just pull all the bolts. Do not pull these 4 or you'll regret it. The other nice thing about shooting video is when you go to reassemble it, you can watch the video and tell where the long bolts and the short bolts go. Okay, now the book says at this point to use 2 people or to use a cherry picker. And there we go. You'll note I'm doing this out in my driveway because my shop is a mess from the fire. And my wife's holding the camera, so I don't have a second pair of hands. So we're going to resort to something a little more drastic. We're going to use my forklift and lift this off of here. So I'm going to get this set up, and we'll turn the camera back on when I'm ready to lift it. Okay, I don't know how well you can hear me over the forklift. As you can see, I just strapped it to the fork, and I'm going to give it a little backwards tilt so it can't come off here. We're just going to lift it straight up. Back it up and set it down on this piece of cardboard I have right here. Now we'll take 2 people to put it back on. Won't be able to use this trick putting it back on, but I didn't have any help here today. So we'll go ahead and set her down gently. Shut the forklift off so you can hear me. Okay, we're in here. Still a lot of water in the bottom. This gasket was shot and had been Permatex. That may be the source of my leak because it doesn't look like it was done real well. Yeah, that's probably a big portion of my problem. Okay, so I don't know if my wife can get that in there or not. But you've got a cotter key here you have to straighten out. Maybe. And one other thing you got to do on these is you got to shift them into high range to get them apart. Okay, the needle nose aren't going to work. Let's get out something a little more substantial and see if we can get a bite on this thing. There. I got that side straightened out a little bit. Straighten out the other side. Okay, pull the cotter key out. And the drive shaft. Comes out. Like so. There's a roller bearing right here. It's actually in pretty good shape, so we won't worry about that. Okay, then the other thing we have to do to get the pump out, well, there's two things we got to do. Let's pull the tube. O-ring's in good shape, so that's not our problem. I didn't expect it to be. And the PTO works, and the PTO is part of the drive for the pump, so we know that's not the issue. So the other thing, one of the other things we have to do is we have to pull the PTO out. So I'm going to get my wife reset so she can film that, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, so we're back. You got to pull these 3 bolts off this little triangular mounting plate. And then you got to pry that out. Oh, I gotta go grab a screwdriver. Alright, so let's see if we can get this plate out of here. Okay, now there is an O-ring on this mounting plate that holds this in here. And it can be an absolute son of a gun to get out. There is a neutral on the PTO too, so it helps if it's in that. So rather than you sitting here watching me fight with this for the next 20 years, I'll get it out and bring you back.
Okay, it's on.
Okay, PTO came out. Took me about 20 minutes to get it to pop loose. There's an O-ring on it that pretty much holds them like glue. Then these retainers here on the sides, I don't know from where my wife is, you can see this real well, but these are what retain the hydraulic pump down in there. that in a minute. Problem with using magnetic bits. When you're taking nuts off, they don't want to come out. Okay, you see that little round pin? That's what's holding the hydraulic pump in from each side. You got to pull those. And at that point, well, there's a wire retainer in here I have to cut. Okay. It's just a matter of getting just the exact angle to pull the thing out. Move that all the way down. Let's see if that does me any good. Okay, so we're going to turn it off while I fight with this. You don't need to see me trying to get the perfect angle, and we'll bring you back.
On.
Okay guys, it took me about 2 minutes after I turned the camera off. It's just a matter of getting everything lined up just perfect. It has to lift straight out of the hole. So I turned it by hand when I got it up, and it seems to pump, but yet I had no pressure when I pulled it yesterday. So I'm not real sure why the hydraulic pump quit. I'm not going to take a chance because I'm not going to tear this down again. I'm just going to order a new hydraulic pump, and I'll rebuild this one later when I have more time. But new hydraulic pump, I'm going to do all new gaskets where you saw me take them off, and then I'm also going to fill this thing full of about 10 gallons of diesel or kerosene, whichever I have on hand, and we'll run it for just a second and clean all this out, and then re-drain it, and that'll get all this water and stuff out of here, and we'll put all new seals on it, and hopefully that'll solve the water in the gear case problem. So it's out. This is the hydraulic pump, and this is the filter. We're going to change the filter too. It's always possible the filter's just shot because of all that water, but again, I'm not going to take the chance on this one because I need to get this running sooner rather than later. So thanks for watching. I'll order in a new pump. It'll be 2 or 3 weeks before I have a chance to put it back in, and because we're going to be getting ready to go to our Wyoming property here. And as soon as I get the time and the new pump, I'll put it in and get that video up. So thanks for watching, and you guys have a good day.